here's the analogy. The building is your life. Whatever, if it's a skyscraper or if it's a little 1.5-story bungalow, that's your call. That's where you want to be in life. That's what you want to do. I'm not here to dictate that. That's your choice. I'm here to help you to get it. I'm telling you, the foundation that you build determines the height of that building. Okay? If you skimp right now, let's say, here's the analogy. If this footer, the construction supervisor looks at the blueprints and says the footer's got to be 24 inches wide and 15 inches thick to support that building, and he says, we're going to cut corners here. We're going to save some money. We're going to do an 18-inch wide footer and only 8 inches thick. What are the consequences for that building, sir?
The building probably won't stay up. It'll probably
Exactly.
fall down.
The building will not stand. The foundation is critical. You're in this class, you're in school in 9th grade in the state of Maryland because you're building a foundation for your life. And if you skimp on this, you're not going to be happy with the resultant building. Okay? You determine the building, but you've got to put the work in for the foundation. Some of you think you're standing in this school, you're in mud up to your knees, and it bites. I'm telling you, this is the most critical part of your life. If you skimp here, you're handicapping yourself for the rest of your life. So get the foundation right, okay? Now, the first thing my flight instructor taught me, he said, Greg, altitude is your friend. I said, what the heck does that mean? Altitude's your friend. He said, you don't die till you hit the ground. Stay away from the ground when you're flying an airplane. Makes sense, right? What's the analogy for you guys? Does anybody remember what BG&E announced last year with energy costs? Anything? It was in the news. Anybody? What happened to energy costs last year? You got to help me a little bit, sir. It went up significantly. It's like a 72%. Was it something you did? Was it something I did? No. It's one of those things in life, unfair, it happened. You got to deal with it. Now, you're in a family that's living on a margin. That hurt. That hurt big time, okay? Maybe you lost some budget out of food out of the budget. Maybe you lost some entertainment. I don't know. Here's the analogy for getting some air under your wings. The more cushion you build in your life, the more you can endure these things that come out of left field. You can say, well, Greg, I don't care about the big fancy car or the big house or sending my kids to college. I'm a simple person. Fine. If you build your life. I'm telling you this. If whatever your goal is, I'm telling you from an experience standpoint is you're going to have to shoot higher than whatever it is you're going for. Because stuff happens. That's a nice way to say it. It happens in life, okay? Now, I'm not going to beat that to death, but I want you to understand this. Friday, when I'm taking off for the West Coast, now we keep our plane not far from here over at Martin State. When we're lined up on that runway, and I'm going to head to San Francisco, throttles through the firewall, we spool those jet engines up, about 120 miles an hour, I pull back on the yoke, we're airborne. Let's say 300 feet off the ground, the engines go away. Stuff happens. Sometimes life isn't fair. What don't I have in that scenario? I don't have engines. Very good.
You don't have the power to just make the engines snap
I don't
back
have
on.
any power. What I don't have are options. That plane's going to be on the ground in 2.5 seconds. It's up to me in my training to get it there pretty or not, okay? Now, that's a very dangerous situation. Just like my flight instructor said, if you're near the ground, that's the most dangerous time. Same scenario. Let's say the engines hold up. We're over Denver, Colorado. We're over the Rockies. I'm at 30,000 feet. And the engines go away. What do I have? I have time, exactly. I've got some air under my wings. That plane that I fly can glide for 72 miles at 30,000 feet. I can eat lunch on the way down. I'm still flying for 21 minutes without engines. So what I'm saying is that if you get enough altitude in your life, you can weather all the bad things that are going to come your way, because they're going to come your way. Just, it's another thing, just accept it, okay? Bad stuff happens. Now, this Friday, do you think I just aim the plane west and hope to find San Francisco? No. You need to make a plan. Aviators use flight planning maps like this. These are the roadways over your head that you can't see, okay? we follow Victor and Jet Airways, okay? Now, it's a little complicated making a flight plan because I got to put time, I got to look at the weather, I got to follow these routes properly. But the point is, if you're going to get somewhere, you need to make a plan, and I already moved that over there. And you don't have to be terribly bright. Getting from point A to point B requires planning and preparation. Now, what's point A? It's where you are right now. This is 9th grade class, is that correct? So you're in 9th grade at Kenwood High in Baltimore County. Your life situation, your siblings, that's your point A, okay? Now, let's say in this analogy, as you can tell I like to teach with analogies, here's Baltimore on the East Coast, here's San Francisco, here's Los Angeles. Friday, I'm going to make a flight plan. I'm going to file it with the FAA. We're going to take off. And as you know, the quickest way between 2 points is a straight line. So I'm going to try to conserve fuel and time and get there as quickly and straight as I can. There are things outside of my control in this. The things air traffic control tells me to do, 15 degrees right for traffic, descend and maintain flight level 250. They give you orders all the time. Now, there's other things, weather. I need to constantly correct for weather. Here's the analogy. When I take off at Westminster, I check my heading. Because what happens, have you taken geometry yet? You understand angles? If you're 1 degree off at the origin and you never make a correction, by the time, if you don't make corrections in your life, you're going to be so far off course you don't even know what country you're in. If I land in Los Angeles Friday instead of San Francisco, I'm unemployed. That's a big screw up, okay? So how do I reduce the risk of landing at the wrong place? I make constant course adjustments. Over Westminster, I check my navigational equipment, and I'm a ½ degree off. I make a tiny, slight adjustment. Over Morgantown, West Virginia, a slight adjustment. Zanesville, Ohio, slight adjustment. Bloomington, Indiana, okay, slight adjustment. Salina, Kansas. Denver, Colorado. Salt Lake City. Reno, Nevada. I'm making little tiny adjustments. That's what you need to do with your life because your plans are going to change. Things are going to interfere with where you're headed. So here's another tip that's going to save you time and money. Make constant correct. Does that mean obsess about where you're going? No. Don't misunderstand this point. Enjoy yourself, have fun, play sports, but every 3 or 6 months, step back and say, am I headed in the right direction? Am I headed toward cosmetology school or prison? Am I headed toward my dreams and goals, or am I doing something somebody else wants? Okay? You can do this, you can manage your life by doing small corrections. That's the analogy for that. Requires a plan. We're going to give you some tools now to make that plan. Now, a little bit of real life. And I need 2 people to help me. You look so excited. Would you help me and make sure everybody gets one of these on this side of the room? Yes, ma'am. Will you give everybody on this side of the room one of these? What I'm going to, and the teacher too, if she's interested. What we're going to talk about, in the top part of this sheet, we're going to talk about money a second, okay? Now, on the top part of this sheet is a little budget. It's a little sample budget, and it's a very meager existence, okay? We're talking about a little apartment. Is that a little fuzzy?